at Snetterton. I'm really looking forward to it. I think we've got a title fight on our hands, and well, this season has kept on giving, so I wouldn't be surprised to see more of the same this evening.
Yes, indeed. We have got a lot of talking points about tonight's festivities here at the Norfolk Circuit, originally known as the USAF base Snetterton, and was first used for motorcycle racing back in 1953. 53, organised by the Snetterton Combine, an association of clubs both in Norfolk and Suffolk. It was then used by Formula One's very own Team Lotus and the Norfolk Racing Company when it came to Le Mans. And it has a lot of history, a lot of pedigree. But before we talk brass tacks here at Simsport Racing, let's have a look at the highlights from last week at Circuit Paul Ricard, just outside of Marseille. We are green, green, green as they bury the accelerators for the spray. Absolutely cataclysmic, as it is nearly four abreast at some points as they head down into the S's for the first time. He gets the leaders. Oh, clash between Tobin Lee and Regan Mitchell, and that has split everyone around, and there's more dramas. Aidan Brough off the circuit as well, and he started in 15th. But in the meantime, it looks like Adam Isalovic has got the initial advantage all the way down the order. He's up to 23rd position. Aidan Brough all the way down. Muller's lost out there. He made a bit of a mistake there, and that has allowed John Monroe to go back up the inside of the Chevrolet, now into the next left. As banging door panels. That was a bit cheeky from Yannick Muller.
On the move, and look at this, tucked up under the rear wing of Aaron Walker's McLaren. Look how quick that thing is on a straight line, getting past one of the front queue Ginettas. He might have a sniff at the second, which is Stin Paspont on the way into senior. Look at the way he just drags past. It's like the express train coming through, and Buncombe's going to benefit as well, and they might just be able to get past Vidago, who's been battling with the two Ginettas, and they have.
As now Yannick Muller challenging for the lead. Up the inside goes the 143 Camaro on the 111 of Adam Isalovic.
As they run into senior, he might be able to just get it up the inside. I think he has done, as long as he doesn't slip too wide on the exit, and Button given a chance to take a look up the inside. But no, fantastic racing from Miles Dixon, battling with Jenson Button, Formula 1 world champion.
And Brough looking towards the inside as they're going towards Scene, but look at Regan Mitchell, he's not too far behind, and neither is Ross McGregor, and that's a great move there, using the slipstream there, Aidan Brough, as there's a three-way scrap just in front. Paspont, Haley and Vidago at loggerheads, as Regan Mitchell looking towards the outside of the 223 of Dixon. As Ross McGregor trying to stick his nose in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. Brough running towards the left-hand side to try and get the cut back into the next left-hander, and they have a little bit of attack. More momentum lost for Aidan Brough there. Real shame. Like Will Dendy just looked like he was standing still as we go on board with Rocket Esports' very own Jenson Button and the number 22. He did say he wasn't going to stay in 15th. He's now closing on Will Dendy.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. The way he was oversteering onto the Mistral straight there, the way that the car was just washing out, he was in almost full opposite lock as he looks up the inside of Dendy coming up to see. It's not easy in these wet conditions, and with the wipers going, there's still very limited visibility. I do feel for McGregor though, who couldn't be bothered to turn his on. So as Monroe again looks to the inside just to try and irk the 111 Mercedes in front as he closes up midway through the corner at Scene, looking to the outside, then ducks back to the inside. Can he get him on the brakes? Not quite. And see if Isalovic just slips off wide, and he does. That's an unfortunate way for that battle to end for him there.
Out of the final corner, and power across the line. It's going to be a new winner here in Season 4, and congratulations to Yannick Muller. Well, as you saw in those highlights, a big thank you to the crew behind the scenes here at Simsport Racing for putting those fantastic highlights together. Yannick Muller took a perfect score of 111 points, which puts him 15th on the grid. So obviously here on GT4, we run a reverse top 15. And a big thank you to everyone in the chat. Angus Martin, who's not racing with us tonight. Real shame, buddy. He has been openly modest and saying, not racing next week. Please don't let anybody outscore me. I'm not too sure about that, Aaron. Angus, we're going to have to wait. And he's cheering on for Michael Haffenden, who finished 17th. John Monroe will start 14th, finishing in second. Adam Isalovic is a 50-50 if he's going to be competing this evening. Luca Burke comes into this championship having secured 4th. And he's leading by quite a considerable margin, but the title's still up for grabs tonight. He starts from P12. Aaron Walker, who is the only one that can really throw the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons, well, one particular Porsche, that is. He starts from 11th position, finished 5th, ahead of Carolis Supervicious, outgoing Season 3 champion. Alex Buncombe, Michael O'Brien, Stephen Haley, who was very, very happy this afternoon because he got his direct drive Fanatec steering wheel fresh off the delivery wagon this afternoon, and he's already been using it. So that's what we like to hear from Steve Haley, that he's already got in there. Jenson Button, he's finished in 10th position, ahead of Regan Mitchell, Ross McGregor, Kieran Vidago, Stain Paspont, Will Dendy. The number 28 from Zansho Simsport in the Aston Martin starts from provisional pole position. Let's have a look at some of the other bits and pieces you need to know, such as the standings here. So Luca Burke, he needs to finish P3 or higher to take the crown tonight. If Aaron Walker wins this race and Luca Burke finishes P4, Luca Burke has lost the title. Quite literally. Stephen Haley could still have something to say about this because obviously there's a team championship. We'll come to that in a moment. Aidenborough, third last time out, is 4th in the standings. Simsport Racing have a narrow 44-point margin ahead of Zansho 3. Fun Q rounding out the top 3. They're still in the hunt for the title. Anything could happen tonight. HF Impala, who were runners up just the previous season, they're P4 ahead of Apex Motorsport with Zansho 1. Tim, this is what we wanted in terms of a championship here at Simsport Racing. 3 seasons so far, 3 different champions. Could we have the first of a 2-time champion tonight, or could we have a 4-straight streak where no one title has been successfully defended here on Simsport Racing in GT4?
Oh, just as you say that, Alex, I get a little bit excited. It is cracking stuff here at Simsport. GT4 series always seems to give, and having competed in it myself, I know that the competition is always hot, and it doesn't matter if it's the last race, the first race, the third race, whatever. These guys are going out there to give it their best, and factor in that there's a championship on the line. I think we're going to see some very exciting drama out on track this evening. Oh, and to factor in, Alex, not only are there 2 guys going head to head for the title, they're also starting next to each other on the grid, just to throw that one in there.
Yeah, good to see the chat really getting exploded at the moment. Angus Martin, he's cheering on Michael Haffenden. Positive Perception are also with us in the form of Mark Raddenbury. Good evening to Andrew Fife, who says, "Good evening, race fans." That's what we like. That's how I should have introduced it a bit earlier on. Even Tim's getting in on the YouTube chat action. Also, Frankie Helliwell, Bliv AK. Looking forward to having you back at some point soon. And really good to see the interaction there. But we've got to look at something rather special that's coming up on March 3rd. We've already talked about this. The Simsport Racing Ginetta British Sprint Series starting on March 3rd. And that will start at Alton Park, Brands Hatch on the 10th, Snetterton the 17th, Silverstone the 24th, and the 31st of March will conclude at Donington Park. So we are using all of the British GT DLC that was recently released on February 10th, effectively a week this past Wednesday. On the new series, and that is brought in association courtesy of Simsport Solutions, who are bringing this stream live to you right now, and also Sim Racing GP. Now, before we get on to one of the nice new additions to Season 4 GT4, of course, I'm talking about Tim's top tips. Tim, give us your top couple of highlights from this season, because this is your first time commentating with us at Simsport Racing. I know you and we've had plenty of talks behind the scenes. It's been an absolute blast. But what are your top 2 or 3 highlights from this season, mate?
First off, I've got to say the involvement of some of the big names. It's been fantastic to see the likes of Jenson, Button, Alex Buncombe, and also Luca Burke, Michael O'Brien. That's just what is so fantastic about this community, seeing those guys with the racing pedigree they have go up against some people who just love sim racing and love getting stuck in the virtual world. So that's definitely a big highlight for me. I really enjoyed the race at Zolder. I thought we had some fantastic action there, particularly the battles with Aaron Walker, I think, going around the outside of a couple of people through the first sector. Also, despite the I suppose the rather damp proceedings last time out at Paul Ricard, it was fantastic to see how this group of drivers deal with inclement conditions, and to see Yannick Muller really romping away at the front was like watching well, he had a Midas touch, didn't he, last weekend? Everything he touched turned to gold. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this season. I'm very grateful that I've been allowed to join you guys in the virtual comms box, and I'm looking forward to the same this evening, to be said, Alex.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, from my perspective, having commentated on all 4 seasons of GT4 here on Simsport Racing since its inaugural inception, as well along with the GT3s, this hands down has to be the most ultra competitive season that we have had. I would never in my life think that we'd be going into round 6 at Snetterton rather than Hungaroring, and we would have a nail-biting finale for both titles, exactly what we had at season 3. The biggest battle that I really enjoyed was when we saw Luca Burke, John Monroe, Daniel Handover, and Jenson Button all getting elbows out, and that was really, really good. It was a great clean battle. We did see, obviously, there was a little bit of a touch between Dan Handover going up the back end of Jenson Button, who was gunning for the win. You know, Jenson was very, very, I think that was the second standout point, that Jenson being so complimentary and really enjoying battling with this community, and knowing that he hasn't had it all his own way. You know, he finished P6 at Paul Ricard. Zandvoort was his only podium. He had the coming together with Steve Priaulx at Zolder. But I think at the end of the day, he's had a laugh just like everybody. And I remember Steve telling us before we went on air that that the fact that he was so gutted he missed last week. Like the week when we didn't see Jenson,
yeah,
which could have put Jenson in for the championship permutations. But the thing is, it just goes to show that he might be a 2009 F1 champion, or a 2018 Super GT GT500 champion. But the fact that he's got in, he's rolled his sleeves up like any normal bloke would do, and have a blast, and has got to know members of the community. And that's really the 3 things that have really cemented my love of GT4, but also Simsport Racing. I have to say, Bliv AK he's saying big ups to Kieran Vidago, Niall Schleter, Aaron Walker, and all the Simsport Racing boys. And there we have our grid. Now, there are quite a few absentees at this particular moment in time, because no Daniel Handover, he's been having rig issues. Angus Martin, Sebastian Totolinera, Gerard de Bar signed out for the rest of the season. Glenn Guest has signed out. But we do have 2 new additions. Now, there is one that you might remember from the virtual 3 hours of Silverstone that we had a few months back, Jack McIntyre. He joins us, along with another driver that is known within not just Zansho Simsport circles, but also Rocket Esports. Matt Richards, who's been also competing in the Virtual Reality Racing Club Mini Challenge E-Series, which heads to its next round this coming Saturday. And he's also the defending champion for the E-Team Brit GT Challenge, which heads to its penultimate round on Friday night at Imola, of all places. Well, that's somewhere that we've had it before. But with just over 2 minutes and 20 to go on the clock, Tim, what are our top tips for tonight here at Snetterton?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I have enjoyed delivering these top tips this season. So I've got the 3, as always, as I have been serving up for the last 6 weeks. I've got the same format tonight. So tip number 1 for Snetterton is to take it as it comes. We've had plenty of circuits, new and old, over the 4 seasons in Simsport Racing GT4 Championship. But like Paul Ricard last week, this is a new addition this year, but this season. But just to add to it, unlike Paul Ricard, this is completely new to everyone. This circuit only becoming available as part of the British GT DLC you mentioned earlier. So everyone is new to this circuit, and with that in mind, it's important to take it as it comes. You might not know what the racing is like around here, you might not know where the hot spots are, so just to be prepared, expect the unexpected and keep a level head to react to unforeseen dramas. My tip number 2 is pressure on the pressures. Do you see what I did there, Alex? Yes. To follow on from my previous point.
Oh, he's fantastic tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Fullbrook.
To follow on from my previous point, one of the unique challenges that the Snetterton circuit presents is a mix of these long flat out straights and some tricky technical sections, so tyre pressures are going to be very important to manage. The worst thing is arriving in the technical areas, particularly sector 2 through Agostini, Hamilton and Oggies, when your pressures aren't there and the car just feels horrible, but you can drive around it, so drivers need to be aware of what they have underneath them and drive accordingly. And my final tip, last but not least for the season and for this race in particular, is just to have fun. It's finale evening after all, and definitely part of the mantra of the Simsport Racing community is just to enjoy it, enjoy the racing, enjoy being out on track. You might be fighting for a certain spot in the championship, or you might have someone that you want to get the better of. You've had a season-long battle with them, or they beat you last time out at Paul Ricard. You've just got to enjoy it, enjoy the racing, enjoying being part of this competitive field, and to have a good time. So that's my last tip, Alex, and I think myself and you, we're going to have the same thing tonight, aren't we? We're just going to enjoy this one and be there to watch the drama kick off in front of us.
Indeed. Right, the session now has officially started. The circuit just under 2.97 miles in length. Around the early 2010s, it was extended to the current variation, as now Will Dendy starts to lead the field away ahead of the likes of now.
Oh, Alex, I've just had an update. I've just had a message from someone saying that Stein Paspont, who's second on the grid, has frozen. So he's actually not the driver. Second place will not be starting the race from that position.
Oh, so that means he could be starting behind Neitelings and Johnson in the 666 and the number 8. Matt Richards will be running in the 189 Ginetta. Jack McIntyre in the 137 Porsche. So Stein Paspont has really... that has changed everything a little bit, because you now see quite a few drivers. Now, one of the good things here is that they are starting to weave from side to side. And for those uninitiated, those that have joined us for their very first time here on Simsport Racing, a big warm welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, Dave Hedges, Drifter Dave, will have my guts for garters. They're trying to, so effectively for those of the uninitiated, let's put it out there, by weaving from side to side, they're putting some heat into the carcass of the tyre, the sidewall, and also by hitting the brakes as well. What they're also doing is helping to generate temperature to the brakes, but also to the wheel rims, and that in effect directly affects the wheel, the tyres themselves, because here at Snetterton, Tim, these tyres are going to be put through the relative ringer here, aren't they?
Definitely, and to, like you say, to those who are maybe not familiar with sim racing, you think, how can there possibly be that level of detail in a video game? Well, it's so much more than a video game. It is a simulation. Those brake temperatures can have an effect on the virtual rubber that these cars are donning around the track tonight. So yeah, Snetterton is a track that's very tough on tyres. You have quite a few technical sections where drivers will really be leaning on the fronts, but also with that comes key acceleration zones, particularly out of the two hairpins. We've got the Montreal hairpin and down to Agostini, and that really then applies the pressure to the rear of the car. So all four corners of the car are being worked in equal measure and being worked pretty hard around this very unique but challenging circuit.
Landrew 5 says, what, no rain? Well, at least Ross McGregor doesn't have to worry about switching his wipers on for a second race in succession. And at least he'll have clear visibility, apart from the bug splats hitting the front windscreen. So what this has done, now as I said earlier, I think Angus Martin said, yeah, this lucky lot, I wouldn't want to drive Snetterton in the wet. Well, I've been here for British touring cars. Anyone might remember 2016, one particular sunny Sunday afternoon and a particular Chevy ending up over the barriers. I'm going to leave that one lie. A good friend of ours, Andrew Abbott, would know well and truly about that because we were there that same weekend. However, it is now down to Dendy and a few others behind. Now, obviously, Staying Passbon is going to start right at the back end, but now they've come out of Murray's. They're coming down the centre straight. This is an ultra-competitive field. Season 4, GT4 season finale here at Snetterton in Norfolk, about to get underway for 45 minutes. It's a flat-out sprint. Will Dendy on pole position. We are green, green, green for the final time this season. And look at the pair of these Simsport Racing McLarens of both Mitchell and Haley trying to get the jump on the likes of Button and all, as Dendy starts getting away, but Kieran Vidago has already gotten up into second as McGregor runs wide, coming through Riches, down into the right-hand hairpin, formerly known as Montreal, but named after the late Justin Wilson, as now Kieran Vidago up into second. McGregor battling away, that's Regan Mitchell towards his right-hand side as they go through into Palmer before the run down towards Agostini, which they've just gotten through, but you can just see there Jenson Button well and truly getting his elbows out. Michael O'Brien looks to be battling away with Stephen Haley, who's just behind him. And you can just see all the drivers trying to do their utmost. There might have been a couple of contretemps a little bit further down towards the back of the order, but with just under a minute completed, Will Dendy over Kieran Vidago has a 1.5 second advantage.
Dendy's done exactly what he would have wanted to do. He's scarpered out front. Meanwhile, this little quartet spending their first lap side by side. Actually, off the start, it looked like Michael O'Brien was giving his 2009 Formula 1 World Champion teammate Jenson Button a bit of a bump from the green flag just to try and find some extra space, but as they've managed to file down into single file, coming down the Bentley straight towards Nelson and Brundle, as this is Regan Mitchell looking to the inside of McGregor. He might get the job done. Such a tricky braking zone here as you brake and turn left, and he's through. Can he get it stopped for the right? Oh, just about. 4 wheels off over the curb. That's going to drop him back. That's going to allow McGregor back through. Button having a sniff of the opportunity as it looked like there was a bit of drama at the back. A couple of cars exiting stage left and stage right. Button's going to be looking for a way through now as Regan Mitchell's got to deal with some dirty rubber underneath him.
Yeah, going through Coram now into the left at Murray's. So Dendy leads, but Vidago trying to close the gap, and in the battle for third position, there is the McGregor train happening. Forget the Truly train. It's Ross McGregor leading this gaggle, followed by Regan Mitchell, Jenson Button, Michael O'Brien, Stephen Haley, Aaron Walker, Carolis Sipovicius, Luca Burke running at the top 10, John Monroe in 11th, ahead of Aidan Bro, Yannick Muller, Matt Webb, Aaron Martin Pilkington completing the top 15. Tobin Lee, who would have started right towards the back end of the field, around about 28th position. He's now up 11 places, up into P17 in the number 21 Porsche. Matt Richards, he's jumped all the way from 33rd, and he's up to 18th, ahead of Ollie Gill, Jack McIntyre into the top 20. Dave Hedges in 21st, ahead of Mark Raddenbury and Niall Schleter rounding out the top 23. And you can just see that this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a close quarter battle here, and effectively at the moment, if memory serves me correctly, Aaron Walker needs to be in the top 5 at the moment, and if Luca Burke stays where he is, that means that Aaron Walker will take a second title in GT4, but it's easier said than done as we go to the number 99 car. Is behind Steve Haley, who was partnered with him in season 2 as part of a Simply Race duo running, if you'll remember this as well, Tim, the KTM Crossbows, and they still managed to put the wind up the sails of everybody after what was an ultra competitive season. As O'Brien looking up the inside, going through into Brundle under the bridge past the Bentley Straight. That was close indeed, and Jenson Button had to hold on there. He has a little bit of a touch with the grass with the left rear wheel, but keeps the Porsche neatly straight and true. But this car, this circuit is just proper old school, absolutely brilliant. And can you believe it, Tim? We've had nearly 3 minutes elapse already, and there's Matt Webb now being hustled by Aaron Martin Pilkington going through Coram and into Murray's. Yeah, it doesn't feel like we've had 3 minutes already, does it, Alex? But this battle at the front's really interesting with Burke and Walker. Burke's keeping Walker in his sights. That's exactly what he needs to do. Not let that blue and gold 99 McLaren get too far ahead as Matt Webb looks to the inside of Martin Pilkington. And actually, I think that's Aaron Martin Pilkington trying to fight back around the outside contact. And that's going to spin the Ginetta over to the right-hand side. Can he
regain control, yes, but he's going to tumble down the order, and that's very disappointing for Aaron in the 626 Ginetta. That's going to be not the best way to end your season, but here we go. Mitchell in the McLaren. He's under pressure from Jenson Button behind. The McLaren, a car we've seen, is so quick in a straight line this season, and at a track like Snetterton, where there are a few long straights to really take advantage of that straight line speed, we're going to see these McLarens making their way through the field, and if not, they're going to be hard to pass. But a very exciting battle shaping up here between this trio here just in front of Stephen Haley, who, yeah, like you say, ex-teammate Aaron Walker behind, is in the championship fight. I wonder whether Haley's going to, play the nice card here, say, yeah, I'm not in the title fight. Might let Walker through if he puts a move on him, but at the same time, Simsport Racing, they want to fight for that title against Zansho in the team standings. So nothing said and done, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Michael O'Brien trying to find a way past Jenson Button as soon as they come into Brundle. Nearly makes contact at the rear of him there. You can see in the top right hand corner of your screen the mirror, that's O'Brien behind, very close, looming large in that 570S McLaren.
Yeah, it's still all to play for. 39 minutes and 18 seconds still on the clock. We're on board with 2009 F1 champion and 2018 Super GT GT500 champion Jenson Button as they now make their way through Murray's Hill. Bit of a run wide to the right-hand side coming out of the corner from Regan Mitchell. That is going to allow Jenson Button to get into the slipstream, and he's left Michael O'Brien eating his dust, so to speak, as Stephen Haley looking towards the outside of the number 25 McLaren going through into riches. But well, that is very much a case that no one wants to let positions slide, as a little bit further back looks like Carola Supervicious is staying ahead of Luca Burke. Now this is no Supervicious had a bit of a moment there going through the Wilson chicane, the Wilson hairpin there. I can't get my words out right, but then Carola Supervicious manages to fire it up the inside through into Palmer's off of Luca Burke. So Burke's really, he wants to basically make sure that he gets up as far, if he can get into the top 5 and he wins that title, he'll have done that on merit. But Luca Burke is now struggling. This can give an opportunity of a lifetime now to Aaron Walker. Now I've just calculated the points as they stand. Luca Burke came into this on 480 points. Now he's currently P10, and that puts him on 62 points. That's 542. You look at Aaron Walker, 394 coming into this round, 66 if he finishes in 8th position, and that will put him on 450 points. So Aaron Walker, I think now he realises he's got an absolute truckload of work to do this evening, and he knows that Luca Burke, nor anyone else, will want to make it easy by any stretch of the imagination.
Definitely, but that slight battle with our reigning champion, our outgoing champion, Scipio Vicious, in the number 1 BMW, that's going to give Walker that slight breath, to the chance to maybe scamper away, clear Burke a bit bigger, get that deficit, that margin time-wise to Burke, extend that, get up to this train of the battling cars in front, and be there to maybe make some positions up if they start infighting. Burke's got to get his way past Supervicious. He doesn't have to for the championship, but he's going to want to get in front, have Walker in front of him, just keep an eye on him, just see what's going on, and play the safe card as opposed to going all out, making moves left, right and centre that might leave you off the track and in a worse position than you started. But just as I say that, Burke's managed to find his way through into the Wilson hairpin, so he's going to try now and jump that gap too up to Walker, so we can play that card, just keeping the McLaren in front of him. Meanwhile, Walker is going to be looking to get past Haley soon. I mean, 36.5 minutes, Alex. It seems like a long time, but that is going to fly by this evening.
Well, Will Dendy, in the meantime, as they say, if you're not talking much about the leader, is doing a pretty damn good job. There is the number 28 Zansho Simsport Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT4, 2.6 seconds ahead of Ross McGregor, who's still battling tooth and nail with Kieran Vidago for the runner-up step on the rostrum. And then it's Regan Mitchell, half a second ahead of Jenson Button. Michael O'Brien, right up the back bumper of the 2009 Formula 1 World Champion. Then it's Stephen Haley, Aaron Walker. Look at the gap between Walker and Burke now. It's extended to 1.7 seconds. Now, that just shows something, that Supervicious was not wanting to let Burke get by easily. And what that has allowed we know that 570S can really, really be a dynamite vehicle. And the biggest point here is that with Luca Burke having 40 kilos of ballast, Aaron Walker has got none. But look at the time he's just clawed back. Luca Burke has just taken nearly 0.3 of a second out of Aaron Walker. So Aaron Walker knows that his chances are fading rather rapidly into the distance, and Luca Burke can see the lights at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely being in that position, really, Burke, he'll apply the pressure to Walker. It's up to Walker to make the moves. He's the one that needs to start going forwards if he wants to win the Season 4 Championship and become our first ever multiple winner of this series, as we see Munro and Bro going side by side into Richards, and Bro just managing to get the better of the 224 Zansho Simsport Mercedes that time, but Munro looking to the inside into the Wilson hairpin, actually defending from our race winner last time out, Yannick Muller, who goes to the outside. There's a Janetta there on the inside of Richards, who's battled his way through the pack, and now he's enjoying a fight with the Dutch driver there, going round the outside through Palmer. That's going to be a tricky one to make stick. It looks like they're still side by side, two wheels on the grass. Richards gets through. I wouldn't be surprised to see him under fire shortly.
No, that will be coming from Tobin Lee. So Yannick Muller looking a bit in the tumbleweeds at the moment in comparison to the dynamite display, where he actually posted the fastest lap of the race at Paul Ricard when he took the checkered flag and took a perfect score so far. As there is Stephen Haley and Aaron Walker. This is not what Walker needs. I know for a fact that Haley and Mitchell are battling for a title, but for the team's title, but then you've got to... Now, I'm just wondering, Luca Burke, now which team is he with? If he's with Zansho 3, yes he is, because they're in... That's really added a different dynamic. I didn't see this one coming. This has definitely been like the curveball thrown from the pitcher, and you're trying to whack it into left field with a home run, and it's not quite panning out. So this is where now Aaron Walker, Aaron's with Simsport A, Stephen Haley is with Simsport Racing, who are 44 points ahead of Zansho 3 coming into this round. And there goes Burke. Burke's up into... Now that is effectively... That has changed everything. It's now 448 to 546. That is nearly 100 points advantage. So Aaron Walker now, I think time is fast slipping away for him. The sand time is running out, and he now knows that Luca Burke, even with 40 kilos of ballast on that Porsche 718 Cayman, he knew that he would come under fire. It was only a matter of time, and now Luca Burke trying to do the best he can. And when you look at it from this respect, his teammate, Luca Burke's teammate, earlier on in the season was Pietro Fittipaldi, who joined us for the opening race of the season 6 weeks ago. So on merit, if that happens, that Luca Burke does enough. But the thing is that Regan Mitchell is now currently in 4th position. He's got Jenson Button and Michael O'Brien collectively breathing down his necks, and Burke now makes it up the inside of Haley. So that's a change for 7th position, but Haley's looking to go back up the inside of the number 87 Zansho 3 car, but can't get through. Well, this has really been, I think the pin has quite literally been pulled off the grenade by Luca Burke, and he's just let fly, and he's just decided, look, you guys might be thinking that you might be some stone cold face killers, but I'm like Rambo, mate. I'm going to pull that pin on the grenade and I'm going to run with it. Well, and that's exactly what he's doing.
He's pulled the pin. I think it's probably about time we duck and cover. It's championship point really to Burke. It's on Walker now to make the moves, and he just doesn't seem to have the pace. I think if he had that pace, we would have seen him get past Haley and start moving up the field, but we haven't. So I'm not sure Walker's got it in the bag to be able to challenge. I think we could see Burke jump the gap, and now 3-second gap up to the back of Michael O'Brien, and then, like you say, fighting for the team's championship, but also just to take the pressure off tonight's race. If this final half an hour, Burke just needs to stay where he is, read the situation around him and adapt accordingly, which we know he's more than capable of doing, as we see Cameron Fife going side by side with the Mercedes of Vesaliovic through the bomb hole, and he's managed to get through slightly slow on the exit. That's going to allow Hedges, Drifter Dave looking for a way through. It's a bit of side by side contact, but Cameron Fife managing to keep them behind. That was clever driving there. He might be able to keep it clean through Murray's, and that position is definitely going to be his. Oh, it just slides wide just as I say that, 4 wheels on the grass on the exit, and he's back onto the track without losing a position. But further up the grid, actually, we see Mark Raddenbury. He's our leader in the AM Championship, He looks like he's doing just enough to keep the title as Bro and Richards are going side by side through Palmer. Richards off onto the grass. Bro managing to keep the position for now, but challenging by Tobin Lee, who's now looking for a way through behind. He's just about done enough into Agostini. Oh, as he gets a slide and he's round, and there's contact with Lee there. That's allowed Richards around the outside, and in fact that's allowed Munro through as well, so someone else benefiting from this drama. Got past Bro. Bro's going to be looking for a way back through though into Oggy's here, diving up the inside. Can he get it done? And it looks like he can just about, which might open the door for Muller through as well onto the Bentley straight. Munro off onto the grass, manages to get the Mercedes collected, and well, normal action is resumed, Alex.
Yes, ding ding, seconds out, round 6. And that's that's quite, not round 2, it's round 6. But yeah, I think the thing was is there might have been a little bit of, as the Aussies would say in Repco Supercars, a little bit of a bump to pass maybe on that particular occasion. But they do say in NASCAR, rubbing's racing, so obviously you got the Australian version and then you got the American version of it. So completely different.
And this is the British Touring Car venue as well, Alex, so some of that spirit's probably living around as well.
And also British GT, because obviously 2 of our competitors have actually raced in it, both Michael O'Brien and Jenson Button, let's not forget. Jenson only competed at the Silverstone 500 last season with Chris Buncombe, if memory serves me correctly. So you can just see how good it is to have this British DLC pack now available on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Is Jenson Button looking to fire it up the inside through on Regan Mitchell, and he gets past, and oh, Michael O'Brien tries to squeeze through as well, and Regan Mitchell gets a couple of taps for his troubles there. But you would not, if Jenson Button senses an opportunity, he will take it comfortably. And Michael O'Brien thought, well, if Jenson can do it, so can I, and just thought, well, I'll thread the eye of the needle and see what happens. And there you go, they both get through, and that could change quite a bit of things. I think with the way that Luca Burke is now closing, he's only just over 1.4 seconds off of Regan Mitchell. I think it could be a possibility of seeing what happens with regards to the team's title. Now, let's not forget here that both Mitchell and Haley will cumulatively potentially score more points than Luca Burke. But if Luca Burke's done enough to secure the title for Zansho 3, that's a double header for Zansho 3 and also for Luca Burke, and that would be one hell of a thing to sort of think, brag about afterwards. But we've still got 27 minutes and 50 seconds still to go. Jenson Button smells another podium. And Kieran Vidalgo, he's like a sitting duck at the minute, because as they now come through, Button's got the run going through into the bomb hole. I think, yes, he's got the move done. Up the inside through Kieran Vidalgo. Vidalgo runs wide, and O'Brien going through Coram absolutely does the Danny Rick lick to the stamp and sends it on the exit of Coram going into Murray's. And Button now into P3, O'Brien up into P4. Nice work, gents.
Yeah, that started back at Brundle. It's a very tricky corner. It looked like Vidalgo just wasn't able to get that Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 stopped. He ran slightly wide, but managed to slow the car up enough to not venture too far off into the green stuff. But that just allowed Button to come through. And as we've seen, Michael O'Brien definitely bought a ticket for the Button Express this evening, and he followed through. But Cameron Fife here on your screen at the moment doing a fantastic job of keeping Mark Neutlings behind in the Camaro. Fife, of course, battling in the AM class. We do split the field into an overall and an AM category, and he's doing a fantastic job, 4th in class at the moment. But knowing Cameron, he'll probably be having his eyes further up the field and be looking to make some positions if he can. As Haley coming under threat from Sipovicius, a bit of a bump through Agostini like we've seen already this evening. Haley managing to keep the car under control though, holds 8th position for now. Walker looking feisty behind though. He wants to get through. He can see the championship just slipping away from him. Burke now 3.5 seconds up the road from this trio. He's out of camera shot almost. You can't see that Zansho Cayman up ahead. Walker's gonna need to make these moves if he wants to take a 2nd title.
You know that we initially talked about a certain Mr. Will Dendy running away with the fairies a bit earlier on in this race. Well, that's not happening now, because look at the gap between him and Ross McGregor, 1.7 seconds, and a further 3.8 behind Jenson Button is definitely getting a move on, as there is, oh, that was a big moment there for Zipovicius, and Richards threads the eye of the needle to get between him and, turn around for the outgoing champion. Turn around, but courtesy of Matt Richards. I think that was the slightest bit of contact between the pair.
Walker goes round.
Walker goes round, that was Tobin Lee. Oh, they were going sideways, and Aaron Walker's title defence, or title chance, has literally gone up with the dust as Yannick Muller and Aidan Bro come to blows coming out of Murray's. Oh my goodness, it is all kicking off here at Snetterton, and we still have 25 minutes remaining. This is far from over. It isn't over until the checkered flag. Let me just say this now, Tim. Aaron Walker might be P15, but Luca Burke has got to really just cross the T's, dot the I's now. He can't afford to make any unforced errors or even a track cut like that, because the minute you get 3 track cuts, you get a drive-through penalty, and he'll be watching that with hawk eyes.
We've seen plenty of those this season as well, particularly at Misano. We saw a few strike and people's races were turned on their heads. But again, it started at that Brundle turn. You come through Nelson into Brundle, the cars slow down. It looked like Zipovicius got a bit out of control maybe on the curb on the inside. He checked up. Walker checked up to avoid contact. You know, he's got to protect his car. He needs to make the moves cleanly and keep going forwards. Then in that chain reaction, that allowed Richards through. Richards pushing the door open, saw, you know, the likes of Muller and Walker and the crew there all kind of like sniffing at an opportunity for another position here, and that ended up with Walker getting turned. I think he got contacted by one of the Porsches. It looked like it was Tobin Lee. I think you called that, Alex. It looked like they went side by side through Coram and there was contact, but that championship has just flown away from Walker. If the emphasis wasn't on him to make the positions for him to go and chase that championship down, it's even more so on him. But flip side of the coin, Alex, as we see Luca Burke looking to the inside of Haley into Murray's, exactly what you're saying. As Haley runs wide, this might allow Burke through. Haley stuck on the grass, he can't rejoin. Position gain for Burke, championship point and then some for the championship leader as it stands. But the onus now, yes, it's on Walker to make these positions. Yes, it's on him to climb the order, but exactly what you were saying, Burke can't afford a mistake, because then the title, which is in the bag as it stands, will come straight out of that bag and be handed to Aaron Walker, who's down the order as it stands.
Yeah, it's now Luca Burke's title to lose. He has to keep everything calm under the service. He might be paddling like, it's a bit like a duck on a lake, isn't it? You know, calm on the service, paddling like heck underneath. His heart rate will be at least 150 beats per minute right about now, will Luca Burks, I'm sure, because I've spoken to him before post race, and he said, yeah, that was really, really tough. I'm sweating like hell at the moment. That's how much effort these drivers are putting in. As we now go back to the battle between Adam Isailovic and Dave Hedges. Here's Tobin Lee and Aaron Walker, and hopefully lightning will not strike twice. Very good awareness there by Tobin Lee. He knew that he went a bit wide. Aaron Walker decided to go up the inside. Aidan Bro not too far behind. You then got Gavin Utley and Niall Schleter a little bit further back in the distance. So Schleter is leading the way in the way of which AM is top of the tree. But Mark Ranbury looking to close off the AM title this evening, and he's done a fantastic job as the 750 Ginetta. And there he is in 20th position, 1.76 seconds behind Niall Schleter. So he's looking a bit lonesome in that car. However, one of the good things is that just by keeping it nice and planted, not making any mistakes, if Havenden or Wilkes close up to him, the best thing to do is to let Havenden get past and battle away with Wilkes. So Mark Ranbury just has to let the pressure go off as Jenson Button trying to close up in on Ross McGregor, who in the meantime, over the last 8 or so minutes, has closed up the gap to Will Dendy. Incrementally, I must say here, Tim. It was about 1.8 seconds, it's now 1.2.
Yeah, well, it's classic Jenson Button, isn't it? Just methodically working away at a gap, doing the job he needs to do. And Alex, you say about these drivers having BPM of 150. I think ours is going to peak at about 700 in about 20 minutes time. So I'm getting ready for some more action. But like you say, this fight at the front, is very much alive. Dendy will see that McGregor is closing. He will know he's there. He will see on the relative, as we see Stephen Haley having to defend slightly from Richards in the 189 Ginetta. He will know that McGregor's closing in, and it's so difficult in that situation to switch off from that awareness of, oh, he's catching me, he's quicker than me, I'm losing time, and just hit your marks, like you say, cross the T's, dot the I's, concentrate on your race, and let the thing come to you. Take it as it comes, as we were saying Tim's top tips earlier.
Yes, and as Angus Martin has nicknamed it, it's no longer going to be Tim's top tips whenever you next do a commentary. It'll be the triple T's, my friend. Oh, and poor old Colin Dunn, who said, I forgot to set my fuel level. Oh, Colin. It's a real shame. As we now ride on board with the Ginetta G55 GT4, actually piloted by W Series driver Sarah Moore when she won the Ricard Dunlop Endurance Championship back a couple of seasons ago. Tops out at around about 230 kilometres an hour, as we saw at Paul Ricard. But look, round this tight circuit here at Snetterton, Matt Richards is giving Steve Haley something to think about. And you know, we know how I know how capable Matt Richards is. I'm commentating it on him again on Friday night. But for him to bring the Ginetta to the party here, that was a really good call, because that G55 loves this circuit, doesn't it, here, Tim?
It looks good, you know, that yes, there are these straights which we've seen definitely favour the McLarens in Season 4, and even there, as we were riding on board with him, we did see Haley stretch away on the start-finish straight, but there's plenty of technical sections around this track that the Ginetta will very much enjoy. It's pretty much a go-kart to some extent with a body on, you know, it's all about throwing the car in, getting it turned, getting the gas on, carrying a really high minimum speed through the corner apex, as we see Button out back running slightly wide, and here again Richards looking for a way through on Stephen Haley, who's definitely got that team's championship in mind. With Mitchell up ahead, they're doing their best to score these points and aim for that title, as Burke now scampering up the road ahead. Is now 1.1 seconds off the back of Vidago, and looking likely that he'll close that gap down even further. But yeah, the Ginetta will enjoy some of the parts of this track. Yes, it will lose out on the straights, but it will more than make them back in the technical sections.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, these drivers are really just having to push and do what they can.
Well, it's what we love about GT4 racing, Alex, is these cars are different. Yeah. You know, different shapes, different sizes, different engine notes, different characteristics. You know, some of these cars will have that straight line advantage. Some of them will have the advantage in the twisties. That's what brings them all back together. Speaking of coming back together, Ross McGregor now, the gap down to below 9/10 of a second. He is starting to wheel in Will Dendy out. Wouldn't be surprised to see the lights on the Mercedes fire up anytime soon, just to irk Dendy a little bit, just to let him know he's there and he's closing in. As we definitely know Dendy will be looking in his mirror sometime soon, worried about that Mercedes closing in.
Yeah, well, Will is a real-life driver in his own right. Quite a capable one as well, if memory serves me correctly, and a good bloke to know. But you can just see in the background, I don't think third place is quite decided yet, as Steve Haley still keeping ahead of Matt Richards. And effectively, Richards just waiting. I think he's had his fair share of moments here this evening, even though he started all the way down in around 33rd position. But to start now, what is it, just over a third of this race still to go. He's in P9 at the minute, and Angus Martin still cheering on Michael Haffenden, who's just under 0.6 of a second behind Mark Raddenbury. But yeah, I think there's several battles that have yet to be decided. Jack McIntyre has done an absolutely brilliant job in the 137 Cayman, and he's closing on the outgoing champion. As all Sipper Vicious makes a little bit of a mistake there. The car runs out a little bit wide going through Oggies, now into the right-hander into Williams. So Sipper Vicious was very, very lucky there. Now they're going down the Bentley straight. The Porsche will have the legs on the BMW, going down into the bridge, into Brundle and then into Nelson's. But McIntyre's going to wait for his opportunity. If he gets a good run coming out of the bomb hole, he'll go through Coram nice and easily as Monroe and Webb battling over 12th position. And that is Mercedes versus Aston Martin. Through into Coram come these two. And Super Vicious taking a tighter line than McIntyre with the back end nearly sliding out to the left. But Jack McIntyre completely holds it together. Super Vicious runs a little bit wide coming out of Murray's. And now McIntyre going down the centre straight on the run down to Richards has got back into the slipstream. But at the moment, Jack McIntyre cannot find his way past the Season 3 champion of Corolla, Super Vicious, in the number 1 BMW.
Yeah, it looks like Super Vicious has been struggling with that Beamer. He's definitely had a tough time. We saw the incident earlier involving Walker and Richards, but Richards actually looks like he's managed to muscle his way past Haley. So I think he knew where he was quicker and just pounced on that opportunity when it presented itself. And I'm starting to think that Michael O'Brien, currently in 4th place, is doing much the same with his teammate Jenson Button, as we see my teammate Haffenden running a bit wide over the grass on the exit of Richards. He manages to get the car back on the grey stuff and stop for the Wilson hairpin. But I wouldn't be surprised to see O'Brien just really eyeing up where his teammate's quicker and then sitting back and, you know, kind of shrugging his shoulders and saying, you know, I know where I can get past Jenson. I'm just going to wait for my chance to present itself. 14 minutes on the clock. Wouldn't be surprised to see a move done in the final 2 or onto the last lap just to really cement that position. But Regan Mitchell now looking to defend from Richards, who you have to say has been the man on the move this evening in the 189 Ginetta. He's going to have a look to the inside, I wouldn't doubt it, but probably unable to make the move through Brundle into Nelson with that McLaren so quick on a straight line. McGregor, however, closing very much up onto the back of Dendy, who's been leading since the start, but I'm not sure if he's going to be leading for the rest of it.
Yeah, we'll find out, because the gap was as low as half a second as they come out of Murray's down onto the centre straight. Will Dendy still continues to lead as we now head on to lap number 17 of this race with 13 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock to go, and Will Dendy just puts in last time 1 minute 56.961. Jenson Button crosses the line ahead of Michael O'Brien, and the pair separated by just over 6/10. It's really interesting how these battles are developing. Luca Burke is now 1.1 seconds up the road from Kieran Vidago. Is now Regan Mitchell coming under close proximity. Salvo fire from Matt Richards, going through into Richards, then into the Wilson hairpin. And Richards takes a wider line to cut back into the exit of the corner, then into the left-hander at Palmer before the run down to Agostini. And that is going to be rather interesting, how they're going to try and feather their way through into Hamilton, because you're going to take this a couple of gears more up the gearbox and about 100 kilometers an hour increased speed. So now they're going to go through. That's Agostini. So that now this is where it's going to really be a case of who is going to profit and who is going to falter, as McGregor's got the gap down to 4.5 tenths of a second. O'Brien now starting, trying to close on Jenson Button for P3, but Corolla Super Vicious still keeping himself in 10th position, but hits the curb there, and that allows McIntyre once again, and that was going through Oggies, going into Williams as they'll head down the Bentley Straight. Super Vicious seems to get caught out by taking too much curb, and on that front-engined rear-wheel drive BMW, that does not help the traction or the centre of gravity if you catch that curb in the wrong position. And here I fear, Tim, that it's only a case of not if, it's a case of when Jack McIntyre and the Porsche just behind will get past.
Yeah, Super Vicious, it's definitely his bogey corner, if we can apply that term tonight at Oggies. He seems to be getting a slide on exit every time, but McIntyre will be aware of that. He will see that BMW getting out of shape every time into there, and he'll log that in his mind and go, okay, can I make a move here? I know he's uncomfortable into this corner. Can I try and look to the inside? But having driven that BMW, it's so strange sometimes. It's quite unpredictable in the lower gears. You shift down to second, and it's almost disastrous going down to first. If the revs are too high, the car just seems to kick out. I wonder if Super Vicious, who drove the Porsche to victory last time in Season 3, is now struggling, although he's had a season with it at this new track at Snetterton. Haven't had much time to learn it and get up to speed. whether he's struggling with those nuances of that car, as actually now we see McIntyre coming out of the Wilson hairpin, looking to the outside into Palmer. It's a very long apex corner. Can he get it done? No. Supervicious able to close the door and kind of usher the Porsche out over to the right hand side. Supervicious with the inside line into Agostini. He's able to hold the position. No, as it looks like McIntyre to the inside on the grass and contact, and into the back of him goes Webb. Moller as well taking contact with the Porsche, and that looked like that was going to be happening when we saw McIntyre looking to the inside, 2 wheels on the grass, as actually now drama has kicked off in front. Richards is through on Mitchell, so the Simsport Racing McLaren still running nose to tail now have a Ginetta in front. It's managed to muscle its way through the pair of them.
Yeah, well, has this race gone quickly or what, Tim? Just into the final 10 minutes. I cannot believe that as 6 weeks ago we started Season 4 GT4, your first foray into commentary, and it's absolutely flown by, mate, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone so quickly. Like we say, the racing is so brilliant. It's I've had some withdrawal symptoms just watching it, not competing for the first time. Obviously, having done 3 seasons back to back to back, you get used to hyping yourself up on a Wednesday night to go wheel to wheel with these guys. It's such a competitive field, but I very much enjoyed being up here in the virtual comms box alongside you, Alex, and what a season we've had. The racing has been fantastic, and as is so stereotypical of Simsport series, it doesn't matter if you're battling for the championship or if you're battling for 20th, 15th, whatever. You're having a good time, you're enjoying going wheel to wheel, and your Wednesday evenings are full of fantastic sim racing action. So as we see Bro now actually looking to the inside of McIntyre, who's probably a bit damaged, might be a bit down on straight line speed. As we've seen, Bro has actually been involved in some drama, and behind, look who it is, the number 99 McLaren of Walker. His day's kind of gone from bad to worse, hasn't it, with that spin and contact with Tobin Lee, as he manages to make his way past Porsche of McIntyre. He's been unable to get back up through the order and really put the pressure on Burke, which is unfortunate to see the championship settled in that kind of way. But it's been a boiling point all season between these guys, so it's just been another chapter in an exciting battle for the Season 4 championship.
So just under 8.5 minutes remain here as we still circulate our way around the Snetterton 300 circuit, actually located around about an hour and 20 minutes from my current location at the moment in North Essex, as Jenson Button and Michael O'Brien. This looks to be the closest battle out on the circuit. 0.4 of a second. Now Jenson Button coming into this round of the championship. 200. You know what? I'm not at all surprised. The thing is that Carolus Supervicious down in 14th place, was level on points with Jenson Button coming into this round. So I won't be at all surprised. Where now Button, if he takes the podium, that's 88 points this evening. So that will put him on. Let me just work that out for a second.
I can hear your brain whirring, Alex. I can hear.
I know the cogs. Yeah. Now obviously there's been a bit of a development in the meantime. Thanks to Richard Pixley for picking this up. Simon Wilkes has now overtaken Mark Raddenbury for second in AM.
But the way that things.
That's no way near enough, because you look at the points between Wilkes and Raddenbury. Raddenbury's up the road and he's scarpered before we'd even gotten to this round. So effectively, it was more a case of. So Jenson Button will end up with 372 points at the end. Well, not 372 points at the end of this season. But yeah, it's Mark Raddenbury will provisionally have the AM title in his pocket as Niall Schleter battling away with Gavin Utley. Then you got Simon Wilkes and Mark Raddenbury, and just behind, your partner in crime, Mr. Michael Heffenden. Utley runs wide, and that allows Schleter to get through, and then Wilkes gets blocked inadvertently there, as Utley was trying to get himself back into the thing of things. Turn around for Schleter, and Schleter collects not just Raddenbury, but also that was Heffenden in the meantime, and Utley now, look, that's a very, very definitely derelict BMW that seems to be like an animal with a wounded leg, unfortunately. But 6 minutes to go. Ross McGregor has closed the gap back down to Will Dendy to just over 9/10 of a second. As we now hit over, we're on to lap number 21. The gap now is 0.797. As Jenson Button still half a second ahead of Michael O'Brien. We'll make that 7/10. And a real shame that Cameron Fife, unfortunately, has decided to call it a night. That's a real shame, Cameron. I know for a fact that we'll look forward to seeing you come back in one of the relevant series that we are racing in over the coming weeks. But Will Dendy, I think Dendy's actually held on pretty well. McGregor has tried to close in on him, and McGregor has just thought, well, actually, it'd be nice to get a win. But then when you look at it from that perspective, Will Dendy has done an absolutely dynamite job. He knows the circuit like the back of his hand, and he's just literally, he's not blinked. He's looked ahead. And that's one of the big things. If you start on the reverse top 15 pole position and you get away, that's your chance to just sort of get into your rhythm. Not worry about who's closing in on you. Try and keep the pace. Try and keep it consistent. Hit the apexes. Hit the braking points. Hit the power when you need to. Don't power out the corner too early, because otherwise you'll spoil up the rear wheels and possibly wheel spin the car around, which is something you don't want to do. And that just shows how comfortable people can be. But the biggest thing with 4.5 minutes to go here, Tim, Will Dendy is not out of harm's way, because Ross McGregor has closed that gap. That looks to be less than about 0.6 of a second, from my honest opinion.
Yeah, well, having started from some of these reverse grid poles, you certainly feel like you're the man with the crosshairs zoomed in on you. So Dendy's done a fantastic job to extend that margin at the start and hold a healthy lead. But really, he's done fantastically not to buckle under the pressure of that Mercedes behind, as we see Bro now looking for a way past Supervicious into Brundle. So tricky here, and Supervicious managing to hold it around the outside as they come into Brundle. He's done a fantastic job there, but Bro able to get the cut back as they come up through to the bomb hole, and he gets his way through on the inside. Walker sees the opportunity and pounces and gets past the car that he came unstuck with earlier on in the race and was unable to pass. He gets through into Coram, and now Walker up to 16th. Nowhere near enough with 3.5 minutes to go. I don't want to give it the commentator's curse and say that Burke's got this one wrapped up, but you'd have to start engraving his name on the bottom of the trophy this evening and get ready to hand it over to him as McGregor closes up again on Dendy through this first sector. It looks like he's able to get that advantage narrowed down at the start of the lap, and Dendy just seems to scamper away slightly towards the end. McGregor running out of time now. If he really wants to get past Dendy in the 28 Aston Martin, he's going to have to start working at this a little bit harder, maybe prying the door open slightly, maybe having a little look to the inside down the straight just to kind of distract the Aston Martin in front and see if he can open the door for himself. But as it stands, I wouldn't doubt Dendy to just have that pace in the bag if he needs to. Actually, as he's weaving down the Bentley straight to break the slipstream, he doesn't want to give McGregor any sniff of a chance of catching up. But as they come through Nelson, McGregor looking pretty in control, despite, I'm sure, he's pushing as hard as he possibly can inside that number 3 Mercedes. The gap, as we've said, opening up slightly in sector 3. He's now up to just over 5/10, best part of 6/10. But with a couple of laps to go, I don't think this one is decided just yet.
Very much the case. With just over 2 minutes to go, Will Dendy continues to lead the race. Now on to lap number 23. This will be the penultimate lap of this race here as they come across the line. Ross McGregor puts in a 1 minute 57.255, so I think it's this and another lap. So Will Dendy absolutely doing a great job, and Jenson Button in the meantime has found a lot of daylight between himself. Now I'm wondering whether he's found the pace or Michael O'Brien has made a bit of an unforced error whilst trying to close down. And Michael O'Brien, look there, Tim, he's 8.5 of a second away behind the number 25 McLaren's 570S GT4. So I think Luca Burke's got a chance at 4th, and that will wrap up the title quite ceremoniously here. I did say he possibly will be looking to get to the top 5. If he can get P4, he'll be absolutely ecstatic. It will come the checkered flag. But Ross McGregor now is winding up the wick on that Mercedes. And that Aston Martin of Will Dendy can now see a 3-pointed star from a Falterbach just behind. Oh, it's getting all close to the wire. Will we have a drag race to the finish for the checkered flag for the leaders? Not too sure, but Ross McGregor still keeps the foot planted in, going through, and that was going through into that was coming through Oggy's there. And
look,
going
and
into
look, he's
Williams.
weaving. Look, he knows that the Mercedes is close. He's still trying to break that slipstream. But I wonder whether there's fuel question marks at play. Like we've seen O'Brien drop off the back of Button. We have seen a number of drivers be forced to play, take things a little bit easier with the right foot to save some fuel. I wonder whether O'Brien's had to do the same, and that's what's seen him drop off the back of Button. But as he closes up 1.1 seconds now, I doubt that's the case. But we could see some drama. Hopefully Burke's got his numbers right. Although we might be able to see Walker snatch it at the death. But as McGregor closes up one more time by just as the clock ticks down to 5 seconds remaining. Final lap of the season. Here it comes, Alex.
Yep, so we're on board with Ross McGregor heading down the centre straight into the right-hander at Riches for the 24th and final time. Out on the power, going down towards the right-hand hairpin at Wilson's. And in the braking zone, Ross McGregor able to use Will Dendy as a bit of a yardstick there. The timer has now officially hit 0. That is it for Season 4 GT4. And we could find ourselves with another new victor after Yannick Muller took the win at Paul Ricard last time out in the absolute torrential rain. But here with the sunshine, here in the Norfolk countryside, Ross McGregor fancies a sniff at an opportunity of a victory. But Will Dendy from reverse top 15 pole position after Paul Ricard last time out has kept the number 28 Aston Martin at the front of the field for every single corner, every single braking point, every single apex, every single throttle application, as now they head towards the Bentley Straight. Now they just have 5 more corners remaining.
A slow
Dendy.
Porsche ahead, Alex. That might cause a bit of a headache for these two. There's a slow car up ahead that they've got to get around. As we see Dendy, the Porsche pulled off. That would have been distracting on the way through Nelson and Brundle. But it looks like Dendy might just have this one wrapped up.
Yeah, they now go through the bomb hole. 2 more corners remain. Now into the fast sweeping right-hander at Coram. Dendy and McGregor absolutely full chat, full send. But 1 more corner remains. Now onto the braking zone. Out of Murray's for the final time. The pair run wide. But Will Dendy in the number 28 has led from lights out to checkered flag. And he takes the season finale. The victory here at Snetterton. Ross McGregor takes P3. Jenson Button, another second podium this season. Michael O'Brien drops out.
He slowed. He was in pit in on the way past there. He's just seeing behind the timing tower, Alex. He stopped. I think he ran out of fuel.
Oh no. Another one like Colin Dunn, but that means that Luca Burke takes P4. Kieran Vidargo P5. Matt Richards, Stephen Haley. And now we've got this ding-dong battle between, that is Aaron Walker and John Monroe, as Aidan Bro's just up ahead of them. Regan Mitchell takes 8th. Matt Webb in 9th. Yannick Muller in 10th. Matt Richards from 33rd on the grid. And now, here we see, congratulations to this man from Dunn Motorsports CST, the 750 Ginetta G55 of Mark Rannebury will cross the line second in the AM classification, but provisionally he takes the AM title here in Season 4. But we still have more battles up and down the order. Adam Isailovic from Mikada Racing battling away with drifter Dave Hedges in the number 88. Like and subscribe Mercedes. Just sorry, Dave, I had to just put that there. And Adam takes top honours in that one. But Will Dendy might have taken the victory. And good to see Denise Pope take the checkered flag. She finished in 27th position provisionally. But your Season 4 champion, Luca Burke from Zansho 3. And with that, I provisionally predict that Zansho Simsport 3 have taken the team's championship. What a story. You could not have written that one And this is one of the phrases I haven't used in a long time, but in Season 4 GT4 on Simsport Racing, there were more twists and tales than the never-ending story here at Snetterton.
What a fantastic showing from Burke. He really has been the man to beat this season. Strong showing first time out at Imola, and since then he's really been consistent. He's been up there in the points. He's made the moves when he's has to. I don't think we've seen any of those unforced errors that you've spoken about, Alex. He's really put himself top of the pile, and deservedly so. Have to say a little shout out to Aaron Walker, obviously. Gutted for him not to really take that fight to Burke this evening. Unfortunate to end up in the grass. But wow, Alex, Season 4 has really given us the best of Simsport GT4 racing. And Will Dendy there just showing what a class act he is at the front of the field, leading from lights out to the checkered flag. He had constant pressure behind from the Mercedes of McGregor. He was able to keep a level head, keep hitting his marks, make it round the track, and just do what he needed to do to take a very deserved win. And of course, Jenson Button taking his second podium of the season. He'll definitely enjoy that one. I'm interested to hear how hard he really is pushing when he turns up for these Simsport races, because I think he's got to try his best with such a competitive field. And as you said, Alex, congratulations as well to Mark Radnaby for picking up that AM title. He's raced so hard in all 4 seasons of Simsport. It's nice to see him take a bit of virtual silverware home with him this evening.
Well, with that being said, let's bring in Will Dendy, our Season 4 race winner here at Snetterton. Let's see if I can grab him in now. Mr. Dendy, firstly, what a race. Many congratulations. Lights out to checkered flag, even with Ross McGregor breathing down your neck. You put it in the bag here at Snet. Well done, buddy.
Thanks, Alex. I'm just I'm pleased that you're not calling me Wendy anymore to start with. I haven't heard you say that for months. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was really tough. Like off the line, I thought that it'd be a bit easier. So I was just, trying to control my, make sure my tires weren't getting too hot, watch out for curbs. And then all of a sudden, Ross started closing in on me. So I thought, God, I'd better put the hammer down. So, he'd do a fast lap, then I'd push a bit and then back off, and then he'd catch up. And yeah, it's tough. I'm sweating quite a lot, Alex.
I'm not at all surprised, but just fantastic work, mate, all the way through. Just tell me. Obviously, yeah, it felt like you were in the, because for those that don't know, Will, you do actually compete in real life on a circuit. And from what I understand, my friend, you can cut some shapes on the racetrack. And obviously your experience in the real life helped you out this evening, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really helped. The team and I have been doing a lot of practice together, particularly Michael O'Brien and I. And we've had some races with JB and, we do a lot of testing together. So that's really helped. But I think just, trying to keep my cool in this helped because, just realizing that, okay, I just have to not make any mistakes. I just have to drive as I've been driving in practice and it will be okay. I think people tend to loom larger in the game than they do in real life because, you can see if someone's closed up on you a 10th per lap, whereas in real life, you'll look in your mirrors and they'll look about the same distance. So, yeah, really tough, but it's been super fun. I just want to thank you and I want to thank everyone at Simsport for such a great series. I've absolutely loved it. So yeah, thanks guys.
One quick question, Mr. Dendy. Are you planning to enter the Ginetta British Sprint Series starting March 3rd?
I just spoke with Dave. I think quite a lot of Zansho and Team Rocket are doing it, so I'll definitely be doing that. It'll be brilliant fun, especially in equal cars. So hope to see you there, Alex.
Well, I won't be there, my friend, but I'm sure that somebody else will be. But well done tonight, Will. Fantastic job, mate. Lights out to checkered flag. Will Denny from Zansho Simsport, our season finale victor here in Season 4. Alex. Well done, mate.
Cheers.
Right, I'm going to just jump into the interview waiting room for just a moment, and I'll be right back. So, Tim, do you want to give the folks out there some bits of Tim's top tips post race? What we enjoyed tonight?
Yeah, Tim's
I'll
top
be back in
tips
a minute.
All right, see you in a second, Alex. Yeah, Tim's top tips post race. I mean, guys, what a season we've had, season 4. It's been pretty much exactly what Simsport Racing has to offer in GT4. These reverse grids, these different cars really throw up an exciting challenge, and we saw Dendy was able to get the best of this evening's situation, really, leading from out front. He didn't buckle under the pressure from the cars behind closing up. He really was the man to beat, but excited to see with this new championship coming up, all in Genettas, all in equal machinery, whether you can really do what Dendy did tonight and lead out front and storm away from it. I'll be excited to see whether we do have those runaway races or whether the pack is more bunched together, if you possibly could get more bunched together than we've seen in season 4 GT4. I'm very excited, Alex, for the new championship ahead.
Indeed. Well, let's bring in our runner-up this evening. Just had a quick chat with the other guys in the interview waiting room. So let's bring him in without further ado. Let's bring in Ross McGregor. Well, Ross, you gave Mr. Dendy something rather big to think about, and it just so happened to be your Mercedes AMG GT4. Well done tonight. But it was so close. You were that close for the W, my friend.
Yeah, it was a lot closer than what I thought it would be. Will was like super fast in practice, and I was always like a few tenths off. So I was quite surprised to close the gap as much as I did. But when I got there about half a second, it was just there's not really a way through unless someone makes a big mistake. So it was kind of just follow leader and hope he made a mistake, but it never came. So fair play to Will, did really well.
Yeah, very much the case. Very much the case indeed. But obviously, it's been a bit of a difficult season 4 for you. Let's be completely honest. You have there's been times when you haven't felt 100%, fit and ready to go. You felt a bit under the weather, but still to come back at Paul Ricard, and we saw some great battles with yourself. We also saw some great battles with your Scottish colleague, Mr. John Munro. But I have to ask you a question about Paul Ricard. Was not switching your wipers on completely intentional or not?
Well, it didn't really matter, to be honest. So I can't really explain away the lack of pace that way. But yeah, as you say, I've missed a few rounds. I've not really been feeling well the past few weeks, so it was good to finally get back on the grid at Paul Ricard and get a decent grid stop for this race. And yeah, second place, quite happy with that. Nice end to the season, and hopefully the next championship at Simsport I can go a little bit better.
Okay, well done tonight, Ross. Congratulations on your second position. Well done.
Cheers.
So, big thank you to Ross McGregor there. Let's just see if I can grab our. This is his second visit to the to the interview room. So let's bring him in. Let's bring in Jenson Button. I'll just head in there and I'll just go and grab him now. So bear with me a second, Tim. I'll be right back. Right, well, good to welcome this man back. Following from his third place at Zandvoort, Jenson Button rejoins us in the interview booth. Jenson, that was one hell of a race. Michael kept you on your toes for a lot of it, but still to get another P3 and get yourself, I think, north of around about 370 points at the end of the season. That was a pretty good race, wasn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I missed one race, which is a shame in the championship. But yeah, that was a lot of fun today. It's so tricky to overtake around Snet. But yeah, I was able to make a couple of moves, and Michael sneaked through. I wasn't trying to help him. I was trying to do the opposite because I knew how quick he was. But no, really good fun, and all the cars are just strong in different areas, so it works pretty well. And then the last few laps, I could get my head down and see what the car could do. So yeah, it was all right, and lots of good racing at the front. I hear there was a bit of wheel banging further back, which is a shame. But it's the last race of the season. I think that's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Tim basically said it was one of his top tips this evening was for everyone to have a bit of fun. I think some might have taken that a bit too vicariously, but still to it's been an absolute pleasure having you as part of the grid. Obviously, you and a few of the other guys from Rocket Esports joined us for the 12-hour Mind charity event at the Nürburgring, and then obviously you spoke to us about the virtual 3 hours of Silverstone. But to have you as part of the grid, Jenson, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. Just give us some thoughts about, how well Simsport have done with bringing these championships together and to be a part of it as a driver yourself.
Yeah, well, first of all, the GT4s are they're pretty tricky to drive, actually, more tricky than the GT3s, I would say, because they're moving around a lot. So I think it makes the racing really good fun, and there's a lot of overtaking and the balanced performance and what have you. So the racing's great, so it's a great platform. But yeah, everyone at Simsport has done a really good job of first of all putting this on for everyone, because I know it's not funded by us unless we donate. So that is fantastic, and thank you for that. And I'm really happy that a lot of the Zansho and Rocket guys could come and race. They kind of took over a little bit in this race, but it's good to have those competitive drivers there. There's some of these guys are the best in the world and on different platforms. On ACC, on R Factor. So it's great and a real privilege having them racing. So thank you guys for pulling this all together and having such a mixed grid.
A quick question for you, Jenson. It's Tim here. Just a quick question. You say these cars are tricky. How hard are you actually pushing? People will say, "Oh, it's Jenson Button. It's easy for him to drive these cars." How difficult is it to really get up to speed with one of these cars?
Well, funnily enough, I'm not driving it hard because if you do, it's so easy to overdrive. You try not to put it into the ABS. You try not to use the traction control because it just destroys your lap time. And also, it's so easy to put the car over the edge in terms of lateral grip because of the high ride heights and body roll. So it's really tricky, and I find this trickier than a downforce car in sim racing. So an LMP2 car seems easy compared to this. So it's a lot of fun, and I think that's why there's a few more mistakes in this and possibilities for great racing.
Yeah, well, Jenson, just really on behalf of everyone here, we know that you're getting into Extreme E. Really good to see you've had some testing in the Extreme E Odyssey. Obviously, you're running in your own team as one of the drivers and also the team boss. And also, congratulations on your new appointment back with Williams, where you started your F1 career in 2000 as a special advisor. We wish you all the very best, and hopefully we'll see you back with us racing once again. Well done tonight.
Thank you. One last thing I just want to say, congratulations to Luca Burke, even though he pushed me off a couple of times this year. No, on a serious note, he's exceptionally quick, and being up there with Luca, I think for a lot of us is pretty cool because he is exceptionally quick, and he's my teammate when we've raced in GT3s as well. So he's very talented. So very happy for him, and I look forward to many more races with him, wheel to wheel.
Thank you very much, Jenson, and our best regards to you, Brittany, and the family as well.
Cheers.
So we have one more interview. So without further ado, let's bring in our fourth different champion here at Simsport Racing. Let's see if we can bring in Luca Burke. Luca, firstly, many congratulations. You are provisionally our Season 4 champion. Well done. How do you feel?
Haven't quite gotten it, to it yet. I'm still trying to realize that I actually did it. But yeah, it feels amazing, especially because I was worried about this track. It's very difficult to overtake, as I'm sure someone mentioned already. So yeah, just try to keep it easy. Go for a move if it was obvious. But yeah, I'm just really happy. Kind of proud of myself because there was some fast guys on the grid.
I think one of the biggest talking points, there was only yourself and Aaron Walker that came into this with a real distinct shout at the championship, but also being part of a Zansho 3. You not only were effectively running solo, because we know that Pietro was your teammate for the first round of the season, but then obviously he's had other commitments. You've literally been steering the team towards possibly, I think it's either first or second. We'll have that all confirmed in due course, obviously, with all the results being provisional. I think Jenson mentioned about that. He said it was just such a difficult, but how hard were you pushing? Because he said that, Jenson said to us just a moment ago, that it's really, if you start overdriving these cars, they will bite. And myself and Tim were very, very open to what your strategy was, looking to make no mistakes, making sure you hit every braking point, every apex, every turn into the corner. You were literally doing what was effectively a champion's drive. And I did say, well, if Luca gets into the top 5 and you hit P4 at the end when Michael O'Brien, I think, ran out of fuel, apparently, when he was parked on the exit of pit lane. Like you say,
unfortunately, yes.
It is unfortunate because Michael was doing a fantastic job. He was keeping Jenson fairly honest until I think it was towards the end where he might have got a fuel warning light on. But just to see how competitive everyone was here, was that a real joy for you here at Simsport Racing?
Oh, I had an absolute blast. But yeah, I can confirm that these cars, when you overdrive them, they bite hard, especially the Porsche. I'm not sure how the others compare. But yeah, we struggled with rear end grip while practicing. Like just 10 minutes in, the car would start sliding all over the place. So, well, I'm glad we somehow figured that out. But yeah, you overheat the tires. It's just, well, good luck. That's pretty much it.
Well, the good thing is we're past the 9 p.m. watershed here, so you're all right there in the there, Luca. But Luca Burke, provisionally our season 4 champion from Zansho 3. Luca, congratulations, well done, mate.
Thank you very much. It was an absolute blast.
So that is it from us here at Simsport Racing. A big thank you, firstly, to our broadcast director, Steve Priaulx, who has been manning the cameras all the way through the evening and through the last couple of weeks. A big thank you also to Simsport Solutions, who have brought this stream to you. A big thank you also. Well, how was that for your first season of rodeo there, Mr. Fullbrook? 6 weeks. It was manic all the way through, and we've had some fantastic drivers, and we've had a season 4 champion.
Well, it certainly makes it, it's easy in some respects when the racing's this good, isn't it? You've got plenty to talk about. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am expecting some homework feedback from yourself, Mr. Goldschmidt, sometime soon. So if I get to see me after class, I will be sweating a little bit. But no, I am very happy to have been joining you alongside you in the virtual comms box. It's been fantastic to see. What goes into putting these races together, having competed in 3 seasons of this GT4 championship, is fantastic to be able to cast a view on what's going on behind the scenes and the fantastic work from the Simsport Solutions guys. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Alex, and very excited for what's to come.
Well, actually, there is something that exciting to come, apart from the Ginetta GT4 British Sprint Series that starts on March 3rd. But next Monday, something rather special that actually Simsport Solutions, and not just yourself, Tim, but also our very own David Russell are involved in. Tell us all about it. I understand it's the eSport Designs Invitational Porsche Cayman Cup. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, it's going to be single make Cayman Cup. Looking forward to it. I'm hoping it provides much the same action we've seen in GT4s. A lot of drivers are going to have to be unlearning the challenges of maybe the GT4 they've taken for the season that's just finished. They're going to have to learn the Cayman, get up to speed into again a fantastic mix of tracks, and a season I'm very much looking forward to. But again, it's going to present some good racing. All cars are all the same, equal platform between the grid. Looking forward to it. And next Monday, I haven't got much time to debrief from this one, have I, Alex, and get myself ready to go again. But looking forward to it.
Indeed. Well, it's good to be busy, as they say. So thank you, Tim. Been a real pleasure commentating alongside you. Thank you so much. And especially, hopefully, that Tim's Top Tips continues into the Porsche Cayman series as well. I'm sure it will do.
under triple T's or whatever it was.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So firstly, a big thank you to you all for watching. A big thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed to this channel, and also hit the notification bell. Join us on Sunday evening, 1900, that's 7 p.m. UK time, for the 4th round of Season 5 of GT3, where myself, Alex Goldschmidt, the voice of Simsport Racing, will be joined once again by Steve Priaulx as we host the 90 Minutes of Zandvoort. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thank you for joining us here on Season 4 GT4. We'll see you very soon. Good night.